Two happy beluga whales, Little Grey and Little White, are on their way to the ocean. Or so everyone thought.
No! Listen to me now!
The almost impossible mission to pluck them from their showbiz life in China and transport them 6,000 miles to the world's first beluga sanctuary in Iceland hangs in the balance. Again. This daring, never-done-before relocation is already 2 months behind schedule. The first attempt was stopped in its tracks by bad weather in Iceland.
The ferry journey, we've just heard, not possible.
And so far, the second attempt is far from plain sailing.
We should be working now. We're not ready.
The team are working hard to load them.
In between, she's going to want to get away.
The lifelong friends are inseparable.
That's what I was afraid of.
Despite weeks of practice, Little Grey and Little White are unsure of the slings that will carry them to freedom.
If you let her go, it's going to be harder the second time.
The day is already running late.
Let's get her out. She's ready.
And this is just the beginning. A move that was meant to take a couple of months to get Little Grey and Little White back to the ocean turns into almost 2 years. The clock's ticking on one of the most ambitious animal relocations ever attempted. Little Grey and Little White are scheduled to be leaving China in a few hours' time. A specially adapted plane is ready to fly them halfway around the world to Iceland. But things are running late. Little Grey and Little White are still at their home of the last 8 years. The Changfeng Park Beluga Theatre. Little Grey is on her own in the holding pool, calling for her constant companion, Little White. This is the first time they've been separated since they came here as very young whales. A few minutes ago, under the watchful eye of specialist vets,
If we push and they just take off, then we need to keep them from moving far away from the stretcher.
Little White started her epic journey, already a little late.
We should be working now. We're not ready.
Vet Tom had decided to load Little White first.
So we'll put the stretcher in first, and then we'll position her.
She's the shyer, quieter whale, but she's the dominant one in the relationship.
We've got to get her pecs over the pole. There we go. Okay, guys. Okay. There we go. There you go. There you go, guys.
It took nearly an hour,
Okay.
but eventually Little White gets into her hammock.
What we have to do, we have to now position her so her pecs are in the hole.
She's carefully lifted from the pool into her specially designed transportation tank, ready for her journey to freedom.
That's looking good.
Now, if the team can get Little Grey out of the pool as well, both whales will be put onto a truck, driven across Shanghai to Pudong Airport, and flown 6,000 miles to Reykjavik in Iceland. Then it's a 2-hour drive and a ferry to get them to a brand new pool made especially for them. And all that has to be done in just 30 hours, from start to finish. It's taken years of planning, millions of dollars, and hundreds of people working across 6 countries to get here. And right now, it could all be for nothing. Everything relies on the next few minutes.
She's calling for White.
Top whale trainer Trisha Kamelnick wants to get Little Grey and Little White within earshot of each other as soon as possible.
I expect them to be calling.
Trisha has already tried to coax Little Grey into her sling.
Listen up. Move forward.
It started well. But something spooks her. And the team decide to let her go.
Okay, let her go, let her go, let her go.
Trish knows things aren't going to get any easier.
If you let her go, it's going to be harder the second time. This is the plan. When she's starting to move in this direction, go back around here and push her in.
They gently try.
Get to the outside of her. Move.
And they try.
No. Listen to me now. Listen to me now.
And they try again. After 30 minutes, the decision is made to drop the water level even further, to make Little Grey less mobile.
This is the most important thing. Nobody move yet. Let her start coming in the right direction to you. Don't go to her.
就你在这里。
Nobody interact with her at all. Leave her alone. I want you to guide her this way.
他想让你把他移回。
It's starting to look like Little Grey might not make it.
Not just her head, her body is moving. Get these guys in to push her. Someone get up to the head quickly.
But then, it looks like she's going in. But no. The team decide to try a different approach.
That's the way to do it.
If Little Grey won't come to the sling, maybe they can take it to her.
Then you move the stretcher to the crane.
It seems to be working.
Looks like they're almost there. A couple more pushes and we'll have her in there.
Now they need more water to help get her into position. But they need to be careful.
We can't add too much. Because if we add too much, then she will be more mobile.
Finally, after almost an hour of gentle coaxing, Little Grey is in her hammock. And she's calm. It's a huge relief for everyone. A little late, but the great whale rescue is one step closer. To help keep them cool on the way to the airport, Little Grey and Little White are loaded onto a refrigerated truck. Six hours into the move, and Shanghai's two most famous beluga whales are finally leaving Changfeng Park forever. The next step is a 12-hour flight. Little Grey and Little White are about an hour late to make that takeoff slot. Thankfully, nighttime traffic is light. But then, they reach the airport, and there's a problem. A senior Chinese customs officer has to be here to say Little Grey and Little White can catch their flight. They can't leave without the officer's permission. And that person isn't here.
So nothing's gonna happen fine? Yeah. Okay.
The customs office opens at 8 a.m, when hopefully someone will be available. But Little Grey and Little White's flight is meant to leave at 5:45. A delay like this could stop everything right here. If they can't make their takeoff time, Little Grey and Little White will have to go back to the park. There's an increasing risk that their well-being could be seriously compromised. Once again, everything hangs in the balance. 2 hours go by. Then suddenly, with about an hour to take off, the customs officials appear. The team can only cross their fingers and hope as the officials check the tanks. One slip now, and the flight's definitely off. With huge relief, the team are told everything's in order. It's all systems go again. As dawn breaks, they're finally free to fly. This specially adapted jumbo jet, donated by Cargolux, came here from Luxembourg 2 months ago, but had to fly back empty. Bad weather in Iceland forced the team to abandon the journey. Once this journey starts, it has to finish. Little Grey and Little White can only be in their tanks for a limited amount of time. Today, the plane's going to get its cargo. The team hope this is the last of the possible setbacks. It's a big hope. That's Little Grey boarded. Now Little White joins her. Next stop, Iceland. No going back now. The move that's taken 8 years of intensive planning is finally happening. By the end of the day, Little Grey and Little White should be in their new pool just a short hop away from their eventual wild home in the ocean. Little Grey and Little White were very young when they were caught. These are early pictures of them at a Russian research station. They were part of a project studying how whales interact with humans. When that project ran into financial difficulties, they were taken to the park in China, where they've been ever since. Until now. The 12-hour flight is the longest, most dangerous part of the journey. Little Grey and Little White are constantly monitored by the vets. Beluga whales simply aren't designed to fly. The plane is flying lower than normal, so Little Grey and Little White don't have to cope with big pressure changes. Their thick blubber can lead to them overheating, so the water temperature is continually monitored and adjusted. Crucially, just like us, Little Grey and Little White can be scared, so their carers are constantly there to comfort them.
Coming.
12 hours later, and this massive operation, masterminded by Merlin Entertainment,
You can see it. Say hello.
the Sea Life Trust,
It's kind of, wow.
and Whale and Dolphin Conservation, has at last got to Iceland.
I mean, both White and Grey did really well. It's a long journey for them. You're troopers.
That's the longest part of the journey done. But it's far from over.
We have another 4 or 5 hours. We still have to get on a truck to the harbor, and then we'll take a ferry to the island.
Little Grey and Little White's new home is a wild cove on a small island off the southern coast of Iceland. The ferry terminal is a 2-hour drive across the spectacular Icelandic interior. Not far now. This is the land of the midnight sun. So the late-night ferry leaves port in broad daylight. It's the final 9 miles to their new home. Little Grey and Little White don't know it, but they're passing the wild sanctuary where they'll spend the rest of their natural lives, possibly another 30 or 40 years. It's a world away from their tiny pool in China. But first, it's quarantine for a minimum of 6 weeks. In this purpose-built, state-of-the-art facility. It's past midnight, but some islanders have still turned out to welcome them. They're the proud hosts of the only beluga sanctuary in the world. Right now, it's time to get Little Grey and Little White off the lorries and out of their tanks. But vet Tom has spotted a problem.
Do you have any way to, some way of spreading the bars, keep them spread? We could put straps on them, strap from there to there, there to there.
Little Grey has turned on her side.
Just at the end here, can you believe it? She waited until the end of the day.
In this position, her stretcher could block her blowhole. They need to make sure she can breathe.
She decided that she didn't want to be in this position, turned over. They could turn upside down and can still breathe because they have a movable neck.
The team decide to get her into the center as quickly as they can. Here, once they get Little Grey upright again, they can lift her quickly out of her box. But little Grey keeps moving onto her side. If they lift her now, the side of her hammock could cover her blowhole again.
You guys just keep on trying, and we're gonna lower the back. We gotta lower this down. She's not ready, she's close. We want her peck to be straight out. Watch out for her peck. Why don't you get on the other side, right here? And the two of you guys are just gonna rotate her. You can put your feet over her pecs. Just don't stand on them, please.
That's it, she's come across a bit.
Ooh, much better, guys.
There we go, that's good.
She's still a bit wonky, but vet Tom decides it's okay to lift her.
Now,
she's working, she's working. We gotta pull these down. I mean, she is not level. So someone else got to get on this other rope.
That's it, keep going. Hands on. Keep going. Watch your tail, watch your tail. And in. And 1, 2, 3. Let's go.
Ready? Down. Okay, down. Let her go.
Yeah. She's out.
Okay, so drop the bottom, everybody move back.
Everyone out. Okay, guys. 1, 2, 3, go. Yep, okay. Okay.
Free at last, in a pool full of the same seawater as the sanctuary bay, where they will ultimately live. It's little Grey's first taste of the ocean in the best part of a decade. All she needs now is her lifelong friend to enjoy it with.
Wait till it's clear. Pull some tension on, Rob.
Here comes little White.
Everyone out. Mitch, you down?
2, 1, gate up.
After all that time alone, confined in their tanks, experiencing the alien sensations of flying and driving, things they couldn't possibly understand, it's a huge relief to everyone to see them finally reunited. The next time they get separated will be for the short journey to the wild sanctuary just around the corner. Then they'll be together for the rest of their natural lives. Little Grey and Little White are unlikely ever to be able to go back into the open ocean. They've been captive for too long. This beautiful wild bay is Little Grey and Little White's ultimate destination. It's a natural safe harbour, regularly serviced by divers who check the nets. Here, Little Grey and Little White will be in natural light, able to feel the wind and the waves. For captive whales who've lost the skills to live in the wild, a protected sanctuary, the world's first, is the best possible solution.
It's much more natural. Well, it is a natural environment for them. They'll have more space to explore, to dive deeper. So they're going to encounter local flora and fauna here. So seaweed, things like that.
Andy Ball is one of the masterminds of the project.
Kelp that they won't have seen before. You have crustaceans, mollusks, octopus in here, and fish as well. You know, things that they would eat in the wild. But even the sound of waves lapping against the side of the cliffs, you know, the sound of the wind, rain on the surface of the sea, you know, all of those things will be new to them.
Andy has only just met Little Grey and Little White. He feels his responsibility for them very deeply.
I didn't see them in Shanghai. I've never seen a whale or dolphin in captivity. I don't want to. For me, making a positive difference to Little Grey and Little White's life is the whole point behind this sanctuary. And the start of that, for me, the real point where I thought this is actually happening was after they were in the care pool and no one else was around, and they both came up and swam past and eyeballed me. And that was when I thought, it hit me that we're their guardians now for the next 30, 40 years. And we've got to do what's right by them.
This project has always been about more than Little Grey and Little White. Much more. Iceland is one of 3 countries that still hunts whales commercially. The tide is definitely turning, and the sanctuary could be a big part of that. Tourism to see whales has become more popular than hunting them. Little Grey and Little White are trailblazers for other captive marine mammals who can't go back to the open ocean.
Whilst it's all about Little White and Little Grey at the moment, you know, they're ambassadors for those other 300 belugas who are in aquariums now. And if we can show that we're making that positive difference for Little White and Little Grey, I would only hope that other people want to build sanctuaries like this as well, or they want to give their belugas to us to come and live with Little White and Little Grey.
For now, Little Grey and Little White must serve out their quarantine and acclimatise for their new life in the wild. In China, they were given strength training to deal with currents and trained to hold their breath for longer. They'll now need to pass a few more vital tests before the team will be happy to let them live in the wild. Hundreds of people have dedicated time to giving Little Grey and Little White a better future. None more so than Iker and Jay, 2 of the care team who moved with Little Grey and Little White from Shanghai more than a year ago to help them settle in.
The 2 whales is like our family, you know. We have just stick with them for many years. We have emotion inside.
With the release scheduled for a couple of days' time, Iker and Jay's job here will be done. They'll have to say goodbye.
I will miss them, definitely.
Yeah.
I will miss them. In Chinese, there's old saying that 天下没有不散的宴席, which means there's no never-ending feast. Everything like will have an end. We have to face that.
Before anyone has time to say goodbye, Little Grey and Little White need to be ready for the wild. Nobody knows how long this will take. The move is already 2 months behind schedule, and there's a fear that Little Grey and Little White won't be ready before the brutal Icelandic winter sets in. As the days fly by, there's still no fixed release date. Little Grey and Little White are putting on weight. But not fast enough. And winter is coming. Once fully fattened up, little grey and little white will be able to handle it. But they aren't ready yet. The decision's made. There'll be no release until next year, spring 2020. So close, and yet so far. At least little grey and little white are together, being well looked after and just half a mile from freedom. Nothing should stop them now. Except maybe a global pandemic. With normal life and international travel virtually shut down, the final release is halted again. Four months later, the release is back on. Planned for 5 days' time. Everyone makes their way back to Iceland. It's almost 15 months since this started. The team has been working hard to get little grey and little white ready. There's a new face in town, tasked with moving little grey and little white the final short trip to the sanctuary.
You have nice whale breath. You have nice whale breath.
Whale trainer Jessica Whiten has come here from Chicago.
The opportunity to do something to take animal welfare to another level really intrigued me.
This project is a potential trailblazer, hopefully proving it's possible to give previously captive whales who can't go back to the wild a new life.
We're still able to provide them the medical care, the nutritional supplementation that they would need. We can bring those two things together and hopefully we'll be providing better animal welfare.
Jessica is excited by the possibility of more whales coming to the sanctuary.
I think we're looking at maybe a comfortable population being around 8, I think, 8 to 10. But this is something nobody's ever done with whales before in this sort of setting, so it's all new.
It puts huge pressure on everyone to get this right.
Welcome, everyone. Yeah! Thank you! That's the only comedy act I have.
The sanctuary is only half a mile away, but moving 2 one-ton whales anywhere is tough. This move is just as complex as any part of the journey so far. It's crucial everyone knows what they're doing. This is the final dress rehearsal. It's suddenly feeling very real.
We want to come in quickly, but kind of carefully. We don't want to scare her. Everybody in? Stop! You have to remember we're working with a real animal. Her fluke and her pectoral fin can easily get dinged and cut. Come in, you guys, and catch. We will drop to the floor to give us some depth. Floor down. And together, we will shift the pole under the whale. 1, 2, 3. Perfect, all right. If you're on the back of the whale, you have to be careful because you don't want to be leaning over those flukes. Stop, we'll try again. 1, 2, 3. All right, we will lift the poles on either side. The staff on the whale will step out. Good, Tom, step out. And from there, we should be able to attach the straps to the pole. Hopefully our training has paid off and they'll be very calm for the lift. So watch your tail, because the tail's gonna be really close down there. And then we move to the bay.
This will be little grey and little white's final journey.
The truck will lift the whale from the truck to the tug. She will get set down on the tug and then secured. The tug will go to the bay, the easy part.
8 years of planning, millions of pounds, and immeasurable human effort.
The whole stretcher and hoist will be lowered and it will open up so she can swim out.
For this, the moment of truth.
And then we will get the stretcher out of the water as quickly as possible. Sound good? And then we'll come back and do it again.
Sounds good in theory, but a lot tougher in practice. This has to go right, not just for little grey and little white, but for other captive whales who might follow. Finally, tomorrow is the big day.
Do you need to be a little closer?
Just one last check. They need the final okay from the vets. Little grey and little white are used to these routine checkups. But this time, the results are critical. Any sign of something wrong, and they won't be going anywhere. Initially, little grey and little white will get used to their new wild environment in these smaller holding pens. Everything has to be done in stages. It's all about getting them used to the wild. Seaweed, fish, even rocks and sand. Back at base, the medical results are in. And it's bad news.
We found a little bit of a problem, bacterial infection in the stomach of little white and little grey. Very mild, but we want to make sure we go through the treatment of that before we move them to the bay.
A final, devastating blow.
So we're putting on some treatment now, and then we'll test in about 10 to 15 days' time and see how they've responded to that.
This incredible mission was meant to be done and dusted more than a year ago. It's now been put back at least another 2 or 3 weeks. It's been a massive commitment for everyone involved. But it's not just for little grey and little white. There's a bigger commitment here. To the animals that are still in captivity. Little grey and little white's new home may be the answer, if they ever get there. After more than a month, everyone's back in Iceland. Again. The team has been tested and quarantined. No one wants to take chances, especially as it looks as if the move is going to happen today. But nothing has ever quite gone to plan on this project.
Forecast and check with our local team, and we cannot guarantee a 3-hour window to safely move the belugas today. So we have taken the decision to postpone. It looks like Friday is going to be our opportunity to move. Thank you guys for coming back. Thank you for being here, and we will see you on Friday morning.
Another delay. This weather wasn't forecast. Everyone hopes it will pass soon. Two days later, the team is back. The trainers go in first. Everyone else has to hold back. It's all about keeping Little Grey and Little White calm. For now, it's the release team feeling the nerves. Once Little White is correctly positioned over the hydraulic floor, it's all systems go. Belugas have very soft skin, and Little White has snagged her tail fluke. If it's serious, it could delay the move. The team decide to get her out of the pool so they can take a closer look.
Push back. 1, 2, 3.
The wound is superficial. A quick treatment to stop the bleeding, and she's ready to go. It's vital the next step goes as rehearsed to minimize Little White's time out of the water. After nearly 10 years, Little White is finally back in the sea. No one knows how she'll react. Everyone's waiting for her to come to the surface to take her first breath. If she's stressed, she'll delay breathing for up to 15 minutes. After 3 endless minutes.
Yes, that's the breath. That's the breath. There we go.
Right on cue, the tug returns with Little Grey. This really is it. The day Andy Bull has been dreaming of for 5 years.
The last 100 metres felt like 500 miles, but we're here. Little Grey about to come off. This is when our sanctuary becomes a sanctuary.
What do you think?
I think it's absolutely amazing. Look at that. Look at that.
What do you think?
What do you think? How you feel? I don't know. I'm kind of numb.
It's a magnificent achievement for everyone. After a short period of acclimatization, Little Grey and Little White finally swim out into their wild sanctuary. Free at last. Free to explore their huge new home. It's taken years of planning and almost 2 years to move them. An amazing example of what can be done. Little Grey and Little White could live into their 50s. And who knows, by then, because they've proved it's possible, they could be joined by several other captive whales.